Nick Woltemade has completed his Newcastle medical ahead of a £69 million move from Stuttgart, and they may not be finished there. Does this open the door for a world record move to Liverpool for Alexander Isak? We'll have the latest on the transfer saga of the summer.
Finally, it looks like Newcastle United have signed a striker. They've been searching for strikers for so long. Go back to June, they tried to sign João Pedro. They've been in the market for Brian Mbeumo as well. They've seen Hugo Ekitike go to Liverpool. Benjamin Sesko has gone to Manchester United, but they've got Nick Woltemade. It's not clear whether or not he'll be registered in time to play against Leeds tomorrow. I think Eddie Howe made clear they've probably not been able to get that done in time. So tomorrow we wait to see who starts up front for Newcastle, because we know Anthony Gordon is out suspended. But this is a really exciting signing. We can't say that he was top of the priority list in terms of where they were looking for strikers this summer, but he's a player that Bayern Munich targeted this summer. It's a good deal for Stuttgart. They signed him as a free agent last summer. They're about to make more than £64 million to sign him, but a very, very exciting striker. His former captain at Stuttgart referred to him as the 2-metre Messi Musiala. He's 1 metre 98 centimetres, but he's got a brilliant touch for a big man. He was brilliant in the Euros.
Do you know what? Here's the thing, right? Just on that, really, sorry to interrupt you, but there are so many big strikers now who actually have got decent touches. It's almost like that sort of description has gone away.
Bad touches?
Yeah, it's almost like he's got a bad touch for a big man. Are there any of those?
In the old days, not in the modern game.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you finish, James. You're in a flow.
I think this is definitely a really exciting signing. We saw him in the Euros, the under-21 Euros. He's the top scorer, played against England in that final. I think he's a player that has plenty of growth as well. He's not reached his peak, but neither of the likes of Ekitike and Sesko, I think there's a feeling that they can get to their very peak in the Premier League. And actually, one thing to note, 4 of the top 10 scorers in the Bundesliga last season will now be playing in the Premier League, if you conclude Omar Mamouche as well. So very close to finalising this deal. Newcastle finally have a striker, and what implications will that have when it comes to Johan Wissa, Jurgen Strand-Larsen and Alexander Isak?
What does this mean for Alexander Isak? Well, Eddie Howe and Arne Slot were both asked about him today. Have a listen to this.
Difficult for me to give you any clarity on the future, Keith. I've said before, I don't know what the future holds in that respect, because I'm not dealing with it myself. I've got no update from what I spoke about the other day. I'm concentrating on trying to bring players to the club.
That's very nice for Eddie, because Anthony Gordon is suspended, and Isak has not been training with the team a lot, so it's nice for him to have another number 9.
What about in general terms, though? How likely do you feel you are to add to your squad, whether it's another striker, whether it's a centre-up, whatever?
As always, we try to sign players that can help us, but there's no reason after the first 2 games to complain or to think we need more. But if we can strengthen the squad, then we will always try to do that if it's for the right money and it's the right player.
3 hours to go till the deadline. Where are we at with Alexander Isak potentially moving to Liverpool?
I think it's looking a little bit more likely, because Newcastle United have signed a striker, but I think they need to sign 2 strikers, and then of course Liverpool would have to come in for Isak again. And if you look at the way Liverpool operate in the transfer market, they're very, very disciplined. They've got brilliant recruitment, data department. They work out exactly how much they believe a player is worth, and by and large they stick to that valuation. So I'm not expecting, if Liverpool do come back in for him, for them to make £150 million offer. They've already made it clear that they were, at the start of the month, prepared to pay a record fee for the player. So I don't think they're going to break the bank. But of course, we have to wait and see what Newcastle do now, because I don't think they're going to stop at just buying one forward if they're preparing the way for Isak to leave.
Yeah, how do you feel their stance has maybe changed over the last couple of days or so?
Well, look, they're working flat out behind the scenes to sign 2 forwards. They've got 1 in. I think they would still like to sign Jurgen Strand-Larsen from Wolves or Johan Wissa from Brentford.
OK, so, Kave, what's your understanding of the Mark Gay situation as we stand with 3 days to go?
Well, look, Oliver Glasner is being very, very clear there. Mark Gay is not leaving. He has to stay at Crystal Palace. Now, Glasner is very close to Mark Gay. Mark Gay is a key player for him. And under absolutely no circumstances does he want Gay to leave. And he made that clear. But here's the thing. what happens if Liverpool pick up the phone and make an offer for Mark Gahey in the next few days? Because then Crystal Palace would have a big decision to make, because Steve Parish, the chairman, has made it very, very clear they cannot afford to let Mark Gahey leave for nothing next summer. And I think behind the scenes, Crystal Palace have been working to identify potential replacements. So if Gahey was to leave, lots of ifs here, if he was to leave, I'm sure Crystal Palace would get replacement in anyway.
Everyone is putting two and two together and thinking this could be the signing at Newcastle that then enables Alexander Isak to leave the football club as well. I mean, clearly from a Liverpool perspective as well, he fits into one category as a player who would undoubtedly improve their squad. But as I mentioned earlier, the fact that the clubs are some way apart in terms of the valuation, that's why a deal is proved prohibited, because obviously Liverpool have not gone back to the table because Newcastle initially rejected that bid, that £110 million bid plus add-ons out of hand. Of course, Newcastle have faced their own problems in trying to bring in strikers as well during this transfer window. Ekitike, of course, ultimately wanted to join Liverpool. Wolves have resisted attempts to sign Strang Larsson, as have Brentford with Visser as well. In Woltemade, though, it looks like Newcastle are finally getting that deal for a striker over the line, at least as well. And clearly, Arne Slot was not going to bite on the possible domino effect of him arriving at Newcastle and then Alexander Isak coming here. At the same time, it seems that Arne Slot is pretty pleased for Eddie Howe that he's finally been able to get a number 9.
Well, lots of people obviously speculating that a move for Woltemade would speed up Alexander Isak's exit from the club. Did Howe give us any update on his future?
Look, I don't think Eddie Howe wants to go into too much detail about that. It's been dealt with by powers above him. But look, my understanding of the situation is that Newcastle are looking to bring in one, if not two strikers, to in turn open the door for Alexander Isak's departure. He's made it clear he doesn't want to play for the club. Newcastle's owners tried on Monday to change his mind, but there was no resolution to that. So I think Newcastle are in a difficult situation here. Do they keep a player who could potentially refuse to play after the closure of the window? That would be a risk that they would take. Or do they try and rid themselves of a situation, a cloud that has hung over the football club for the majority of the summer? And it feels very much at this moment in time they are leaning towards the latter. But it's crucial for them, again, like they said in their statement last week in retort to Alexander Isak's social media post, it's crucial that they bring in a replacement or two. I think they're still trying for a second striker to come in. I think if Woltemade gets done and they fail to get another one, there is a decision to make with regards to allowing Isak to go. I think if they get in a second striker, I think there's every chance that Alexander Isak goes. Of course, Liverpool still need to make the offer. It needs to be an offer that's attractive to Newcastle. That first offer, of course, was £110 million plus add-ons. I would suggest that has to rise significantly from that. I think it's unlikely they will get the £150 million price tag they had on his head, but perhaps Newcastle and Liverpool can come to some kind of agreement midway between that.
Harvey Elliott is edging closer to a potential move to RB Leipzig in what could be one of the most surprising late developments of the summer transfer window, but the deal may hinge on whether Liverpool successfully complete the signing of Alexander Isak from Newcastle United. With Leipzig set to lose Xavi Simons to Tottenham Hotspur in a £51.8 million deal, the Bundesliga side have identified Elliott as their top replacement and are pushing to secure his signature before the window closes. Talks between the clubs have progressed in recent days, and reports confirm that Elliott has already held face-to-face meetings with Leipzig's head coach Ole Werner and sporting director Marcel Schaefer. The 22-year-old attacking midfielder has agreed to personal terms with Leipzig, indicating his openness to a new challenge and more consistent first-team football. However, Liverpool have not yet fully committed to the sale. The Reds are reportedly holding out for a £40 million fee with a buyback clause, or £15 million outright, which has complicated negotiations. Crucially, the Anfield club are only prepared to sanction Elliott's departure if they secure Isak's services first. Isak is currently in Liverpool for a medical after Newcastle accepted a £130 million bid, making him potentially the most expensive signing in British football history. With Isak's arrival likely to reshape Liverpool's attacking setup, Elliott's exit becomes more feasible from a squad perspective. Still, time is running short, and all parties are working around the clock to finalize the moves before the transfer deadline. If completed, Elliott's transfer would mark a significant next step in his career while giving Leipzig an immediate replacement for Simons and Liverpool the attacking reinforcement they'd been targeting.